What's going on, YouTube? It's Kenneth from Roxanne Mud, and I want to take a few minutes to talk about what's going on with my 2014 JK Wrangler.
I can't believe the night lay waste to all we'd given. But honestly, you've gotta know that this ain't living. But we could run from Elysium and let it burn, let it burn.
So I got this 2014 Wrangler pretty much how a lot of people end up with their Wrangler. They look around on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. Mine just happened to pop up at my local Jeep dealership, and it was a really good deal that I couldn't pass up. So I jumped on it. Now, I had a few things already done to it. It had the 3.5-inch AEV kit already installed, and it's been a great kit. I've taken this thing off-road a few times. We've gone to Uwharrie 2 or 3 times with it, and it just does phenomenally well. It flexes really good. All the parts work together really well. And it really is just a simple kit. Springs, shocks, sway bar end links, track bar relocate kit. And I really don't have a lot of complaints with that kit. Just doesn't quite fit the needs for what I want to go. Eventually, I'd like to go to a long arm setup. I don't know which setup yet. There's a lot of amazing aftermarket companies out there, Rock Crawler, Clayton, etc. But for now, the little 3.5 is doing me pretty well. It already had a set of 35-inch tires on it. These are the BFG KM2s. And in my opinion, I can't own a Jeep that doesn't have BFGs. Now, this isn't a plug towards BFG. I just happen to be a fan of BFG because BF Goodrich tires and Jeeps just kind of go together. It's iconic. I mean, Nitto tires are great. The Milestars that everybody's crazy about right now, they do good in certain environments. And I had considered some different brand tires, but every time I looked at different tires, I always came back to the KM or to the BFGs, the KM series. My TJ had the all-terrains on them, and I really, really liked them. And I think I'm going to continue to stick with BFG, just kind of show that love. I gotta already admit, I've already got a new set of tires for it. Those are coming. So I'll kind of reveal that in a little bit and let you know what's going on. I had already pulled the stock fenders off. I had a friend of mine who happened to give me a set of MCE plastic fenders. These fenders look really good. They fit the body line really well. I like it. Gives it the flat fender look to it. Opens things up. I still have to cut the inner fenders and trim those and put those in. I just haven't had a chance to yet. I really like these. The plastic texture works really, is easy to clean. Although I'm going to recoat them in a duplicolor Rust-Oleum style bed liner material that I really like. I've done it and used it like on the Rubicon bumpers. I use this kind of not quite chunky bed coat material. It's really fine, but it washes up and works really well. But I really like the MCEs. Shout out to my friend who had those laying in his garage and kind of threw them at me, and I really like those. I like the fact that you can kind of rub into stuff. I've heard that metal fenders tend to transfer body damage. I've never got into anything that transfers body damage, so I'm willing to take some people's word for it. But I really like these. They flow well with the rock guards there. and those are Highlines. I love these. My last ones were kind of a undertucked style rock rail that kind of kicked up the edge of the thing there. And these Highlines, you know, I got a good step on there, a good distance off the side of the Jeep, and give me, I'd say, a fair advantage to, you know, some good side protection, something to lean into. The MCEs flowed really well. They opened up that wheel well really good, and they still have that stock look to them that I like. I used to have the AEV Moab rear bumper, and when I decided I wanted to go to bigger tires, I knew I was going to cut, and I knew I was going to have to trim. And the Moab actually has this rail that runs across the back of the, almost like a side step rail that runs across the back, and I didn't want to chop it up. And a friend of mine had a steel Rubicon bumper, and we made a trade, and I have to admit that I really love this bumper. This is probably the best bumper that Jeep has designed for the JK and new JL, and it really went well with the MCEs. They flowed pretty good. I did keep the Moab swing out, which uses the frame side mount, and it works factory with the steel Rubicon bumper, and that thing just glides really, really well when you open the door. And of course, the AEV wheels mounted on the 35-inch tires, and I'm really digging how it just, the profile of it, that looks really good to me. Happen to have a friend of mine that had a Rubicon front bumper that he wanted to get rid of, and I jumped on it. I really love this bumper. Now, disclaimer to the bumper: if you want the winch, or the bumper with the winch plate is not included from the factory. You have to buy the winch plate, and there's 3 different companies that I know of that make it. Mine was the Bully Dog makes my winch plate. It was about $170, and it sandwiches in between the rails to get that back there. So it's a winch capable bumper, but not winch ready. So, you know, I had to do a little reworking to get it in there and everything else. My Smittybilt. This is the Smittybilt X20. I believe it's rated at a 9,000-ish pound winch. And this winch has actually been with 3 different vehicles now. So this is, it's 3rd generation Jeep, and I have no complaints with Smittybilt whatsoever. This winch has gotten me out of a few predicaments. It's gotten my friends out of a lot of predicaments, and it's worked really well. It's just time to change. It's time to change. This, you know, it's just kind of held in there. My controller's kind of beat up. My line's frayed. I've used a steel hook forever, and it's just rusted and busted, and I really want the look of the flat link style thimble winch leads and Fairlines, and I kind of want to go with that. So I will be replacing the Smittybilt with something new. I've seen a couple newer Smittybilts, the Apex Badland and the new Warn Xeon. Now, I will admit that Warn is kind of where I'm headed to. I like these Xeon. Every time I look at an older Jeep, and I really love the older CJs and kind of things like that, and that kind of nostalgia to Jeep. That's really what I love about my Jeep, is the nostalgia that comes with it. And I think I'm gonna go with a Warn, just because Jeep, Warn, they go together. So that's where we're gonna go and try that out. And then that, you know, and then I have the accessories, you know, the Rigid Industries pod lights, and I have the Rough Country 50-inch LED bar with my aero lids cover. Now this thing has been amazing. I can't talk enough about it. My friend Gabe developed these and engineered them, and it is an incredible thing. It really protects this light bar really well. I have smacked it, I have smashed it, and I really like the fact that you can customize it with inserts. The inserts make it a million things you can do, and of course I'm a law enforcement officer, so I represent our boys in blue with the blue line, and I thank all those guys for what they're doing. I don't have rock lights. I do have the Rigid Industries also on the rear. I do pull a small trailer with me, and I use my Rigids to kind of light up my campsite, and those work really well. One thing I get picked on quite a bit are my headlights. Look at these. A friend of mine had them. He had an extra set. He was going to throw them away. Offered them up to me, and I needed a new set of lights to get rid of the original lighting on the Jeep, and threw these in. Now I will be honest, they are the RGB chasing one. The controller broke on the RGBs, and I don't use them anymore. But the LED output on these is phenomenal. It works really good. It has a real crisp cutoff line for them. So for a cheap set of maybe $100 LED lights, if you kind of like that thing, they're not bad. I really like them. Although I have been told that they look like little girl eyelashes. So I have a friend of mine who keeps harassing me about them every time he sees them, and those will probably be the first thing to go. So guys, comment, tell me what LEDs I should look at. Something that's really bright and crisp and gives me options, so that I can throw these Chinese made soon penny whatevers in the trash. So I appreciate you guys taking your time and going over it with it. I've got some big plans coming up. There's a lot of things I want to change. I've been saving my pennies. There's going to be some major upgrades made, and we're going to go on some great adventures. So stick with us. I got updates coming up. Thanks a lot, guys.
I can't believe myself. I never thought that this would be our end, but it's nothing new. And my lover's honesty, I can push it back down if I have to, if you want me to. 'Cause we can